Just a little. Arlington.
Joan.
In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest, to aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest, to aid all may I become Buddha. In the Buddha's Dharma and Sangha, until enlightened I seek refuge, through merit from giving and the rest, to aid all may I become Buddha. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go. To the founder, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed, transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer of the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When, O supreme among humans, you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one gone to thusness, I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dharma that pacifies, I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Homage to the Supreme Buddha. Homage to the Dharma refuge. Homage to the great Sangha. To all three, ever devout homage. To all worthy of respect, bowing with bodies as many as all realms, atoms in all aspects, with supreme faith I pay homage. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. Teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, the flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the foe of faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. From Tushita's hundreds of God's protector's heart, to tip of this fresh, pure, white heap, curd-like cloud, Olo Sandrapa, Dharma's omniscient King, pray come to this place with your disciples, in space ahead, on land, lotus and moon. Venerable Guru, smile brightly with delight. Pray stay hundreds of eons to spread doctrine as supreme merit field for my mind of faith. Your wisdom mind sees full range of knowables. Your eloquent speech adorns fortunate ears. Your beauteous body, fame, glory, outstanding. Homage to you, worthwhile to think of, hear and see. Pleasant offerings of water, various flowers, fragrant incense, light perfume, and so on. Oceans of offerings set out and envisioned, offered up to you, supreme field of merit, non-virtue committed with body, speech, and mind, which I have heaped up since beginningless time, especially what has contradicted three vows. Each I confess from my heart with strong regret. In time of strife you strove to learn and practice, shunned eight mundane concerns, made life essence full. O protector from depths of our hearts, we rejoice in your powerful great deeds. Venerable Gurus, from love and wisdom, clouds densely massed in your Dharmakaya sky, pray loose a rain of vast, profound Dharma on fields of disciples just as needed. May whatever virtue I've here gathered bring benefit to all beings and doctrine, and may it make Venerable O Sangdrapa's essential teaching specially shine forever. Migmate sewe ter chen chen rezig, dream make yen pe wang po jam pel yang, du pung ma lu jom ze sang wei dag, Ganchen Kepe Tsugyen Song Kappa Lo Sandrag Pe Javla Sowadeb. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus on my crown, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of body, speech, and mind. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness. Bestow attainments of Brahman and supreme. O glorious and precious root Guru, pray take seat of lotus at my heart, caring for me with your great kindness, until supreme awakening remain steadfast. Homage to the exalted three jewels. Thus have I heard at one time. The Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha on Vulture Mountain, together with a great assembly of monks and a great assembly of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was absorbed in the concentration of the countless aspects of phenomena called profound illumination. At that very time, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, was looking perfectly at the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom, perfectly looking at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, how should a child of the lineage train who wishes in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom? Thus he spoke, and the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, replied to the Venerable Shariputra as follows. Shariputra, whichever son or daughter of the lineage wishes to engage in the practice of the profound perfection of wisdom should look perfectly like this, subsequently looking perfectly and correctly at the emptiness of inherent existence of the five aggregates also. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, form is not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors in consciousness are empty. Shariputra, like this, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. That is, they are not produced and do not cease. They have no defilement and no separation from defilement. They have no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. No visible form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object of touch, no mental phenomenon. There is no I element and so forth up to no mind element, up to no element of mental consciousness. There is no ignorance and no cessation of ignorance, up to no aging and death and no cessation of aging and death. Likewise, there is no suffering, no origin, no cessation, and no path, no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and abide in the perfection of wisdom, and because their minds have no obstructions, they have no fear. Passing utterly beyond error, they attain the final state beyond sorrow. All the Buddhas who reside in the three times by relying on the perfection of wisdom become manifest and complete Buddhas in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, and complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the equal to the unequaled mantra, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, since it is not false, should be known as the truth. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is proclaimed. Tayata, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisoha. Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva, a great being, should train in the profound perfection of wisdom. Then the Blessed One arose from that concentration and said to the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, well said, O child of the lineage, so it is. The profound perfection of wisdom should be practiced exactly as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, the Venerable Shariputra, the superior Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva, the Great Being, and the entire assembly, as well as worldly beings, gods, humans, demigods, Gandharvas, and others, were filled with admiration and highly praised what had been spoken by the Blessed One. In the holy supreme abode of the Dakinis, possessed of clairvoyance and miraculous power, unwaveringly caring for practitioners as your children, homage to the hosts of the three places Dakinis. Akasamarasa Shadarasamriyafi. Marasa Shadarasamriyafi. Tayata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoha. Through the power of truth of the exalted three jewels speech, may all on the side of negativity, such as the four maras, be stopped. May they become non-existent. May they be pacified. All enemies, obstructors, and hindrances, Shanti Kuruye Soha. The 80,000 types of obstructors pacified, freed from adverse harmful conditions. May all be conducive in perfect auspiciousness. Bring happiness and well-being here right now. Saji perki juxing me to from re rabling ji ni de Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyan Yi Pesonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangi Drupashu Churdang Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyan Yi Pesonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangi Drupashu Churdang Soki Chognam La Jangchu Bardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyan Yi Pesonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangi Drupashu.
Yeah. Good. Anyway, good morning.
Good morning, Geshe.
I think there's no stop a lot of people.
Yeah, I think there many people watching?
I think today, I think people watching. Anyway, firstly, who comes here is very heroes. Big snow. Then also road condition. Also Sunday, but you all try to effort to come here. Especially people very far away. John, Wendy, then Shanta. Where are you from? Oh, well, you also. Morning you with Sam. She walk. He come from Florida. Anyway, it's very great merit. Buddhism says how much do you hard working for teaching, practice is great more merit. Even the Lama Tsongkhapa, he work very hard. Even he have some wound here. He make mandala offering. Therefore, who have more effort, then they will get more first Buddhahood. Therefore, maybe you guys be first Buddhahood. Anyway, it's a very wonderful, I've just maybe 2 people, 3 people that I just say. We just vacation here, just maybe recite some couple chantings, but you guys come very effort, very happy, thank you. Then also the little girl, maybe she want to play some, maybe outside, the one room is empty, the living room's no one there. If she wants to stay there, she can play there, okay? And not necessary to, whatever you like, okay? 아니 go to shahada. Okay, today not talk too much, then we go to a little bit. And the time on the languages on the college on the pages.
And so it's very good you came here, or going through so much difficulties, and by doing that you have accumulated a great amount of merit. And we're all very fortunate to be able to study and practice this teaching, Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, at this time.
And then
so and those of you who are watching online, lying down on your bed maybe, or stretch your leg on the sofa, it's still very good. Okay. The effort to come and listen to that. And so our ultimate goal for practicing Dharma is to achieve liberation or state of full enlightenment. And the temporary goal is to have a meaningful life, or a comfortable and happy life.
And the manda chula some nachu lojo yabochi chete so the nyamna yabochi shiwayena and the susu samla tangala chabashara yores sendalaya.
And even at the very least, if you know how to practice Dharma, or you practice Dharma a little bit, then that also makes a big difference in our life.
Then that mazo shona jawa shamala samla tangala that de madavana tango jiwande sendala chitaji tandu wando kaje. Kadina Tachi Sama Macho Janja, Chidamago, Tindo was, Tindo Yola, Samlo Tantarale, Tinda, Nachunalama, Samlo Tanta, Kanjitango Yova, and Kangado in the Teladon, Kanichi go Yova. What to somewhere was?
And at the very least, of practicing the Dharma, the goal for practicing Dharma is to have a good rebirth in the future. And even if we cannot do that, then so many problems in our life. We get so much problems in our life by thinking, by from the way we think. And since teaching and the Buddha Dharma teaches how to think, that helps us to overcome or tackle with the problems of this life. And so much of our experience in our day-to-day life also depends on our thinking, the way we think. It's not only what is said in the teachings of the Buddha, but also it is proved by the science. And for example, if there are two people who are going through same kind of sickness in their life, then a person who knows how to think, how to be relaxed and how to think, and will have less problem, and also the treatments will be more effective to that person. The other person who doesn't know how to think properly and have a lot of stress in their mind, and they always have harder to deal with the problems, and also it takes longer to to heal and so forth. And so therefore it is very important to be relaxed, to be to be good-hearted and so forth.
And the Jeremiah Samba Sana Sadan Lamia San Samba and Sadan Lamia to Soil.
And Lama Tsongkhapa said, if you have a good heart, then you have a good paths and grounds. If you have ill will, then you have bad paths and grounds. And therefore, it is very important, to check our motivation every time when we, do something or we say something.
And this was she chanic Pachavalachi. Sunamjula Chiki Yapochi Kitchen, but so Kulu de Ducha Kidena, that is Kishayamare, Shawayamare.
And so, for example, if somebody has a bad motivation but shows a good appearance, then it's not good.
Mutende the Kadimbana, and the Sosu which Kitchen Mashivangala, and the Chick Shed, the Kulu the Kandendo, or the Tachichetana Yaposhara race.
And therefore, if we can check our motivation before we speak, that would be very good.
No, Tende up Gishim Beko Jagani, and Jitachugala Taj of Sevatea. And then my shuni Kulu Tachichet, that is Hakor was.
And so just like it is said that Geshe Tenley spread he spread ash on the face of the worldly concern, so that also happened by checking the motivation.
Oh, today that Namjuchi Lenji Yigitiwa and Geshe and the Tambo Sukuno the country into or the kitchen which I raised or take up Chikuno to Shajena and some Chetana, Tanguni Yamlin by Matares.
And so, whenever we're saying something or writing something, it's important to check our motivation. And at that time, if we can find out what the motivation is, and then, proceed or stop or put a stop. If we're able to do that, then that shows we're a real practitioner.
And then Nachi Yamne said, so Kama Lono Cheshawati Yamne Chegormato, Lono Chek Yamne Chekad Yomarthro.
And then what we practice is what we have studied. There's no such thing as something you practice this thing and then you practice. You study this thing and you practice other thing.
And then Ganzuchi Suzu Nimare commitment of Canada, that thing you practice is that Jamba Zungi Lojo is nothing of the North of.
So whatever daily commitments that you do, if you consider that as your practice and then other things as a study, then that's mistake.
So
whatever you have studied, and if you can put that into practice, then that will be very good.
로조 제 고투원이 냠내시 온 고투.
So some people say, well, how many years should I study and how many years should I practice? Then that's mistaken to think like that. From the moment you study, then you have already started to practice.
근데 인자 배나 따단다 뭐다 든데 시단 주원로 당로 고반로 나중 냠내시 고반로 다 내디노 내려 봐서.
So that's the sort of the purpose or the reason for practicing Dharma.
어때는 다 가상한도 쉬운지 정보네. 네. 내가 담보네 많다 가성 고tuk 선바이 봤어.
So we have started this text, the Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, from the first chapter.
어때는 단도 솔직히 양도 록 아니 강성 샤바디 니리 로종 샤바디 수수티나 지 냠내로 가랄래한도 티나지. 딱그 어떻게 좀 잘 해서
And as we study this text, it is important, to see what we can extract, from it, to do practice.
Okay? 대치 다들 간도 쇼로가 담보돼 있는데.
So now we're going to start from the verse 1.
그러고 아니 간도 내치로 안데 저로도 질로 내치로가 되게 아니 간도 lun고 쳐놓으서 말인데 lun체 티제 자상에 와 있다.
And so I will recite once, and then you can recite. And so my reciting, will be adequate, to service as a transmission, as I have received this transmission many times.
Okay? 아니 다 페이지 담보. The
first verse.
First chapter, okay? 대시 추제가 세다시 샤고 간라 기비 샹사데 대시 세지 domlan 주바 나 르전도 되나 저브샤스 어디 찾아 준다더라.
And so now let's recite it together. This is the first recite. Om, homage to the Buddhas, reverently bowing to the Sagatas who are endowed with Dhammakaya, together with their children and all who are worthy of veneration. I shall concisely present a guide to the disciples and of the children of the Sagatas in accordance with the scriptures.
그때 옴네.
먼저 담보해야 돼서. 상계를 찾아서 티셔가.
어디 다 가상도 아니 가자 담보 다 디스 담보 산지신도 가도 랍타임 바스. 다티 가상데 아니 달로 자와 아니 네 백에나 수징이 되다. 대리가 좀 고쳐야 돼. 대시 추지가 세다지 샤호가나 기비 장전에 대시시 지 domnul Giuban reședere de șeba și asta da ceea ce mă șaua legi da somone goțoare trebuie diga țic tambone ni diga ne tamroshi ane țic shimani diga da jeya dengore trebuie.
And so last time we talked about homage to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, right? What it presents and represents and so forth. What kind of scripture, what kind of teachings, what class of teaching that represents and so forth. So that's the homage paid by the translator. And so today, there's a bowing to the Sagatas, right? This is the reverently bowing to the Sagatas. So this is also paying homage, but this is the one that Shantideva himself has composed. So this first two line talks about the bodhicitta. The refuge, and then the the last two line explains about the subject matter of the text.
Okay. 어디지? 근데 인자 다 데려다 가도 다 담보된 간지 네 제작하는 담보되게 쇼로니 제 제작 점로래. 데려다 가도 점로 인심지 가다 산지 주도 안 된다고 하더니 말해서 네 점로 상상 송거로.
And so first two lines now of this verse explains about the refuge. So it's not necessary to be saying I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha in order for it to be refuge. So it explains all about the refuge here.
And 대시 추지가 세다지 대시에서부터 다 뒤가 안에 빵빵한 소바나 또부터 네가 나는 강사대 송거로. 대강에서는 상제레스 대시에서.
And so it says here, reverently bowing to the Sagatas. So Sagatas also, it's known as the one thus gone, right? So thus gone. So that represents somebody is called thus gone, who have the two perfections, the perfection of abandonment, so who have perfectly abandoned everything that is to be abandoned, and who has a perfect realization, so who has perfectly realized everything that has to be realized.
Right? And the Deshe said the Lam Devashapanyam, Lam Devashapanyam, the Lambaratini, and then Dev Devashapatobare, what is called Lam Devashapade, and the Pashitukunyamlin, or the Jashures, Dev Devash, and the Devashapade, and the Sanjiko, and the Chujikuninga de Kanadalani, that's Sanjiko, Tobapato, on the Pamasonica.
So thus gone to bliss. So it's the full word would be thus gone to bliss. One thus gone to bliss. So gone to bliss means who has completely freed himself or herself from all the sufferings, right? Have achieved the state of full enlightenment. And there again, there are two thus gones, like the Lam.
Lam Devashapanyam, the Lambaratini, and Dev Devashapatopas.
And so there's a the path, thus gone, and then the result thus gone. So the path thus gone is the path, the perfection, the six perfections. By perfectly practicing the six perfections, and you achieve the result thus gone. That's the state of Buddhahood, and who have the perfections that we did earlier.
What is Tendiza? Tendiga never thought of toting a Kanada Karingana, Chujikanga, Chujikana, and the Chukunda dance of Kore. Ishichikana, Monica, Tantatapanga, Rezo, Kanje Topanta down.
Then it says reverently bowing to the Sugatas who are endowed with the Dharmakaya. So that kind of one thus gone to bliss, who is a Buddha, has the Dharmakaya, possesses the Dharmakaya. So Dharmakaya is the truth body, which encompasses the two type of bodies, the nature truth body and wisdom truth body. So the wisdom truth body is the realization, the wisdom, realizing all the things that has to be realized, and then the nature truth body is the true cessation and of having ceased and all the delusions and all the obstructions. So the perfection of abandonment, who has perfectly abandoned everything that is to be abandoned. And so these two bodies, the wisdom truth body and the nature truth body, are the actual Dharmakaya. I mean, actual the true so the Dharma jewel, the actual Dharma jewel.
Kujala Karzana and Tobapato and a Pamapasoniga Yores, Tendeza, Chu Sanje Kencho Tijala and a Chukincho de Magre, Tiji Chukinjukana, Tijia, and in Cambridge ended the down, Tiji Pami and Nila, Talaqueros.
So the one that's gone to bliss, is the Buddha, it's the Buddha jewel, right? And then his realizations, his two bodies, like the wisdom truth body and the nature truth body, and are the actual Dharma jewels.
Okay? Tendenza, 아니 또바파도 소바스, 아니 직다 시장 타다, 아니 말레바, 아니 지 니랑다 좀 봐서야 당, 아니 지주세야 당, 아니 던서 또바 차선 지 소진행 또바, 아니 캠발라나메 바 또발라나메 바스, 아니 tel라 또바파도 소바지, 아니 니데 다좀마다 저 양치 코아파야 되나, 된저 양치 아 빠와 다도 도마다, 아니 빠와파도 소바스, 아니 Rajinada, Lona, Cheninka, Letrove, and the Sanji Papiche, Ta Monicro, or Telana, Pompato Segres. Then that Tinica, that's Sanji Jungle Nagares at Oro.
And then the Buddha, the Sugata, the one that's gone to bliss, possesses all the realizations, all the realization of knowing all the things as many as there are, and the way they, just as the way they exist. So knowing everything as they are, and everything as many as there are, knowing all those things, and who outshines all other realizations, the realizations of the healers and solitude realizers, four destroyers, or even the stream winners and so forth. So who has all this, the realization of knowing everything as they are and everything as many as there are, so who possesses this the wisdom truth body and the nature truth body.
와 근데 다 도모디가 아니 산지 계절 추게 이까블야 쇼난 간도 산지 계주고 되니까래 봐 아니 telaya yawa 간도 yawa 아니 되게 제주 가래 봐도 정도 장고기리 아니 추게 줘야 돼 아니 되게 되니까래 봐 되게 제주 가래 봐 아니 선정와도 정문이잖아 또 장고이나다 뭐한테 마치 신경을 와서.
And then, so the reverently bow into the Sugata, which shows the Buddha jewel, right? And then, so at this time, we should be discussing about everything about the Buddha jewel, like how Buddha is, worthy of, worthy object of refuge, and what kind of, the knowledges and so forth he possesses and so forth, right? And everything that talks about the Buddha jewel in the refuge section of the teaching. And then says who are endowed with the Dharmakaya, so shows the Dharma jewel. And here also we should be talking in detail about the Dharma jewel.
What? 다 안에 세다체다 다 상처 semba도 안에 대시 추지 건아 세다체 디세데 안에 상지 좀 되게 세 상처 semba도 되게 되게 조성 거 들어와.
When it says together with the children, and all who are worthy of veneration, so that shows the Sangha, right? So Sugata here, I mean the children here are referring to the Bodhisattvas, and all the others who are worthy of veneration as the Sangha.
Okay? 다다고 때네 네가 잠도 때네 다 잡수서 고바 잡수 뭐 편이 잡수 손은 손지나 동성도 내가 좋은 생각도 되네. 근데다 나도 냠내 제래서.
And so here, it explains about the refuge, right? So 3 objects of refuge. So we should be discussing about the benefits of taking refuge, the purpose of taking refuge, and where it says, taking refuge accumulates a greater merit. So if you were to, if it were to have a physical form, the merit, and it will be, will not fit, the whole 3 realm of the 3 world system will not be big enough to fit the merit of taking refuge.
Okay? 내가 대치면 난 대서 단 내가 갈라고 해나 내다 소소 냠내지가 잠도도 송거에 와야 하모고는 간소 로종지 고마죠. 가는 내가 때네 지금 내가 때문에 다 잠도 방에 좋은 거로.
So as we recite this verse, the first 2 lines, we should understand, this is explaining about the refuge, right? So if you don't understand, then you just read the word. If you don't think about that, then you can't, really contemplate or put it into practice.
Okay? 다들 하고 서 that dice. 다 dice chanchu sembachi ke. 아니 샤고 끊라다 대라 소베 아니 소소고 게게 아니 라마 아니 샤샤 이삭 차상하라다 니 샤사기 예스.
So to all all who are worthy of veneration, so that can include, like the children of Bodhisattvas, the other include all the, our gurus and lamas, anybody who is worthy of veneration.
Okay? 다 원하는 거 저어서 가르치 샤차그나 소수기 샤와된 탈신 비체들이 해서 납치고 들어와. 받지 마요. 들어와. 텔라.
So why do we reverently bow to these objects? Is for ourselves to create merit, to not have any obstacles in our studies and so forth.
원하는 제와 담배가 안에 쇼바든 담바세는 다 두세요. 제와 담바도 다 가디나 담보 산지 쪽에 느껴지더라야. 다 조작벽이 들어와. 저 샤자.
And then also, is to accord, with the behavior or the activities, of the holy beings. So the activities of the holy being, is of making offerings and taking refuge, to the 3 jewels. So if we, do that, then we are following their activities.
Okay. 특동문이 잠도시 다 생기반이 아니지 제자 다 뛰나 된지게 되게 다 네 바지 좀 담저 기술치에서 오는 건도 기술치에서지요. 간지 제장이 좀 아니 제자 된지는 다 제자 가르치 용기지 않는 시기 예선 아니 다 제자 아니 대시 세지 dom란 주반더스로 루진도 되지는 셔프샤스 아니 된지 되어서 봐 산조 삼바 되게 라 냠내 시기 아니 진짜 바지도 그 냠내데 다 리디 전에 아니 룽을 송 나시지는 봐 송게 예세하는 거 되는 거잖아.
And then so the next line shows about the subject matter of the text. So here it says, I shall concisely present a guide to the disciplines of the children of Sugatas in accordance with the scriptures.
Shanju Tigi Sanju Jumna nigga say Shanju Sambati Yamle Karna, Pashin to Yamle the race, they didi chini, that domra jamne, and this song is.
So the disciplines of the children of the Sugatas, right? So again, the Sugatas is the Buddha, and children is referring to the Bodhisattvas. So disciplines here is referring to the practice of the Bodhisattvas. So what is the practice of the Bodhisattvas? It's the six perfections. So he says, concisely and briefly, will present these teachings of the six perfections. That is the discipline of the children of the Sugatas.
And Kazanganzo Chushu by Shanju Sambala Legasumures, Jubi Shava, Dribi Shava, and Dribiga Shava Sumures, Jubi Shava Gari, Shamba Niji Shanju Sam Communitaries, Dribi Shava, Passion Chuk Yamnichi at the race, Lavimba, Tendida, and the Shanju Sambiga, and the Dribiga Shava, Passion Chuk Yamlente, and the Didi Cheneshaki, etc.
So, like last time we talked about the three activities of the Bodhisattvas, right? So the entering, activity, or beginning activity, and then the engaging activity, the actual the activity, and then concluding activity. So the engaging activity, which is the beginning activity, is generating loving kindness, compassion, and the bodhicitta, and then the engaging activity or accomplishing activity, is the activity and is practicing the sixth perfection. And so here it's talking about those the engaging or accomplishing activities, so six perfections.
And it take a trip and the Gana, Devra Shabe Santika, and Chukanta to down, and or Pawanta to the Topanta to Gangading that could driven at the Dribishawa.
And then accomplished activity or the conclusion of the Bodhisattva activity is achieving the state of full enlightenment, achieving the two the bodies, or the truth body and the form body of the Buddha.
Tadigal Tovana, Changati Shiva the Kari, Changata, Ransu Social, the Karno Mariting, Lune, Pejana, so Naji, into the Shiva, yes, Lucian to the Shiva.
And so when he says in accordance with the scriptures, shows that he's not making up all these things, he's explaining according to the scriptures.
What? Then Della Pace, what that Nigita Jija. The Jaya Karimba thank you, Resro, the Gizu Chuchi thank you, Tande, Gizuchi, the Pajichodo, Pajiconio, Michitanding on the Tasa Peja was the Lord of Chetang and Resro. Gusuchi, and the Gubachi, my Jejachi, Gubachi, Niguchi, and Devapan and Digapan and Desroa. Tewachimbo Lam Deva the Parson took a Parson true day, Tewachimbo Lam Deva the Chapati, Jeja, the Chindi Jeja. That's what Parson took in Yamnes of Pachitroa. And the Tejundalatine, they conta cheba, Tobati, Guba, the Judatombe Guba. They Yamne Jabana, Sandia Combo Topati, and the Nugu. And the day Hamanga Shimashim and Deva and Deva says, Pena Nugudi Salatin, Nugudi, and the Guba conta chebalatin to was, Guba con Majin, to Maravas, Greg Honchibati, and the Teji Jeja, and Yamne Carolona Shabbat together. That chick Namanga Shimashim, and Deva, and Deva, think it's what she is.
And so here it explains about these four things. So that's first one is the purpose, the purpose of the text. The first one is subject matter of the text. So here the subject matter of the text is the six perfections.
And the Gubada, then they teach the Anekaro. Oh, Taloja Chabrat, then the passion to Konda Chapa.
And so, and then the purpose, of this text, is by studying, this text, coming to understand or realize the six perfections.
And the day is Konda Chin, Yamle Chabrana, Sanja Komotobadi, Nikos.
And then by understanding, the six perfections, or realizing the six perfections, achieving the state of full enlightenment, is the result.
Tenji anita ngamada yongwa shima chichi yonggu ta pisan revered was.
And then the last one is the relationship, so the relationship of how the first one is related with the second one, and second one related to the third, and so forth.
Tenjeza ane jawa pente te pech te shizong galane tambo nyamne jiwa sa gisu chushin tu dumde tagares. Gisu chushin mena and pech te chutana nyamne chego martro.
So the Indian scholars before, in ancient time, Indian scholars, when they study the scripture or practice the scripture, they will see whether it contains these four things or not. If it doesn't have these four things, then they will not study. If they have, if it has, then they will study.
Okay. 답변은 전화도 내가 채워다 기술 주요도 요 말씀.
And so these, four things, that you see also, like when you, go to work, you look for a job, or when you go to work, right?
좋아. 근데 내가 집에 그바지.
So first you look for
담보 내가
so first you look for the job, right? That's like the subject matter.
아니 되니까로.
Goba.
근데 그바 가르다.
The precious side.
The precious side is the
And the purpose is to make money.
아니 내가 저런데 수승을 쇼네다 수수 배치 당하셔도 아니 니그러.
And receiving the paycheck, is the result, right?
다들이 배치도 용하나 가르고 내가 제거로 봐. 내가 라고 그러 봐. 대반대와 내와.
And so, so in order to receive the paycheck, you have to do the work. In order to do the work, you have to find the work, right? You have to find the job. So those are the relationship.
어떻게 다나도 다는 냠내 쳐봐라야. 다 되는 근데 기술 취죠. 다 아직 대답에 내가 맞지서 다 내가 같이 와도 아니 기술 취지 영의 제거를 해서도 좀 땡겨서 봐. 고거를. 아직 대답에 내가 제마됐어.
So anyway, so when you study the scriptures, that's what you check, these four things, whether you have this or not. And then same with a job. So if you look for the job, you have to see the job, that there's a job, and then there's purpose for doing the job, and then there's the result of doing the job, and how it's all related and so forth. So you see that, otherwise you will not do it, right?
Okay, 단지 당분이 되게 벌신 점로다 안에 샘제 가로 점로 돼야 돼. 아니 생이바데 나도 샘제라 자주도 와 아니 벌신 쭉 안데 소도가 다 샘제 내용 거로 왔어. 아니 간제 벌신 쭉 냠려 성원데 나도 소소 때 냠려 왔는데 성원 벌신 쭉 걸어서 뭐 당고래서.
And so the first line shows the refuge, right? And then the second line shows the subject matter, which is the six perfections, and which includes the bodhicitta as well. So we can say an explanation about refuge and bodhicitta.
Okay. 대치 다 저로가 이바디가 이바람 되셔로. 현재 마주 봐야 되지매 대전 개발가 달라 연만네. 대시 전도 삼바가 달라매 그런 연락 없이 등에 점스 다 네가 가서로 니데 네지께 반대라나 때문에 그 봐스 다 같이 내자 견 되는 거라 견 되는 들 펜도 말해서 그리고 개장대 전라 전도 좋은데 봐만 봐서 같이 그리고 소소라 견 당가도 대자 지 견섬이와 내 샤우다 와다 내 바보보다 되게 견되는 가서 대표 말해서 양 나라 뒤지 가리셔야 누지 봤다 되게 되는 편 말해서 볼펜이 말 아니 가르치 타는 아니 소수고 연락 공부하셨다 아니 정말 인생으로 보시라 정말 담자와 정말 인생으로 와.
And then in the verse 2 it says there is nothing here that has not been said before, nor do I have any skill in compositions. Thus I have no concern for the welfare of others, and I have composed this solely to reason my own mind, to season on my own mind. And so he's saying that this is not going to benefit those who possess those three faulty vessels, like the vessel upside down, the vessel with the field, and vessel and the hole in the bottom, and so forth. Right? So about that, and also will not benefit those who are checking what I have to say, and if they're checking on me to see what I have to say, then those will not benefit.
Okay, 아니 남제 아니 달라고 그러고. 저 남제 나라야. 이때 늦지 견때네 라라트네 거 봐. 슈때 아니 늦진 천이신네. 이자한테 그 봐서 짓더니 대시에 답했도 싶어는 들어왔어. 간지 견때는 내 땡이 가더라 팽이 매서 그러고. 아니 견때도 다 가동은.
어디 가서?
밑에 아니 늦지 견. 늦지 늦지 견. 때네 라라트네 거 봐. 아니 슈때 늦진 천이신네. 아니 저
여기 천이.
봐줘도 슈팅 니산에 견도 손도 말한다 슈라 텔레도반 천이 손도 말한다 아니 저한테 그 봐서.
그래서 가르쳐니.
아니 되게 늦었대.
아하.
아니 밑에 늦지 견 때네. 라라트네 거 봐지. 슈때 늦진 천이신네 라라고 이제한테 그 봐. 티슈라 아니 젠진 천이신네 텔레도네 이제한테 그 봐서. 이제는 펜토를 해서.
아, 대천이 때네.
텐천이.
너기 천이네.
늦지 천이. 늦지 내려와. 늦지 되는 천이 되네. 가르나 당기서 가르나 늦지 되는 데를 펜토 말나. 단내 마음에 달 펜토 쓰나. 아니 젠토라 펜토를 해서.
So also in other texts, the comparative value cognition, it talks about how explicitly explaining about the three faulty vessels, and also implicitly, explains how what kind of person is going to benefit. So explicitly it explains about directly or explicitly it says, oh, these are the kind of people who are not going to benefit, and then implicitly it explains what kind of people is going to benefit.
봐. 다 니가 쓰잖아. 년체 마주 봐야 되지 매스. 다야 지금 산지가 소만냥 해 고만냥 아직 되는 게 되는 대량 팬도 말해서 봐. 년체 만 되지 얘랑가 가 네 산지가 소만냥 피해 매스. 되는 가다들 팬도 말해서 봐.
And so here is similar to that, and where it says there is nothing here that I have that has not been said before, means like is everything that's teaching that's taught by Buddha already. So there's nothing that he's going to speak that Buddha has not taught before. So somebody who's expecting that will not benefit from here.
다 내가 내가도 구박할 거다. 다 나도 일단 삼삼 지제도 돼서 여러 왔어. 다 지금 싸워지 지금 말아와지. 양막게라 지금 뭐 거야 삼다. 근데나 근데 가나들라 다 펜도 말해서 대치 다 펜도 말송 거 봐. 근데 다 나도 대체 뭐냐 말해서.
So we in the West, people think that maybe there's something new, there's something different, something amazing that I can hear or learn. That's how I want to go. So if it's like that, then it's not going to benefit there.
어떤데다 딱 밑에 내지 되시네. 근데 이게 내 펜도 말나 다 슈라 다 소소들이 제 많이 받아 하고 놓았어.
And so explicitly, explains that these are the kind of people who will not benefit. Then we implicitly shows that we should not be that kind of person to receive the benefit.
Okay? 내가 좀 냠내 지에 누워서 왔다 가디나 지금 고마냐 와시다. 지금 말아 와시다. 지금 이거 나 되는지 되는 얘기나 되느냐 매와 되느냐 팬도 말 간지.
And so it implicitly it explains to us that we should not be someone who is seeking to listen to something that has not been taught before.
간지 냠내지다 냠내 반다. 소소 롬조리에 제 쪽으로 와서 간지 냠내 거는 정해진다. 냠내 다 가로 모두 지. 알았어. 덤몰람전에 대화나 대화끼리 주지 도시다. 덤몰람전 세대 매기 제외 춘리네 발음 진행하던 냠내지는 양로로 와서 대마도 점이 점체 말들어.
So when we do the practice, we have to practice, stage by stage, right? And first you have to complete, the common practices, and then you move up, to the supreme practices. So without doing that, there's no way you can jump up, to the supreme practice. So like when we talk about entering into the Vajrayana, vehicle, and then it talks about first completing. When we have, we have completed the common, practices, then we engage on that.
Or 다 누서 되니 두 사람이 말다 슈라 디슈라 아니 네 샤도와타 마임바 카바와타 마임바 가로 네트마치다 마임바 어떻게 단디 슈를 땡겨서
And so implicitly this explains to us not to be like a filthy vessel or a vessel with the bottom with the hole in the bottom or a vessel that's upside down.
모든데다 저랑 지금 싸워 채팅이나 나 싸워시에 메텔 펜도 말해서 어느 때문에 다 저랑 때문에 저랑 생 대오다 생 개봐도 냥한 거 같은데서 뭐 대랑가상가 냥한 거 개메스 대가 백 말해서
And then he said that, so if you are someone like that, then you will not benefit. And if you are someone who is also seeking something new, which has not taught before by the Buddhas, then you will not receive the benefit. And also he says, but if you're also looking for something very pleasant, like a poetic and so forth, then you will not benefit. It's like it says, nor do I have any skills in compositions or poetries.
오늘 내가 대신 전도 들리게 들어서 팬도서 삼번 갈 메스로 들리게 가서 께 영이 들어 팬도 말해 생긴데.
So he says, thus I have no concern for the welfare of others. So the others here is not just anybody, but those kind of people.
그러. 다 오늘 가져는 랑게 연락 없인 등에 좀 소수의 연락 공부체다. 소수 냠력 강 제시와 된다는데 좀 예스.
And so then why did he compose this? He says, thus, and I have composed this solely to season my own mind.
Okay? Then, what do you think? Then, Shasha. Yang kundu pando ni che, yang tarim bundo chi. Okay? I think we'll stop here. Too much. So, yang the teaching do, shilo ka chindo.
Dig it.
So, and then you can go one more verse, okay? 다 개와 건체 다그 대비슈 대답게 자 레싱 페이지 라스 나도 가만히 봐 진짜 제대로 당도나 되는지를 단 네가 아닌 당한테 대주도 저걸 좋아져 가오에 살아오라.
And then the third verse says, owing to this, the power of my faith increases to cultivate virtue. Moreover, if someone else with the resources like my own examine this, it may be meaningful.
너 다네 들리게 당가서 이 겨우 공부셔다 아니 대비가 쉬지 내가 레시라 아니 펜딱 가는 가시나 펜토고 레스 아니 소소다 가와냠바 아니 지금 다 들려 펜토고 레스 하는 거로.
And so those with the same fortune as myself, may benefit from these teachings.
그리고 소소가 연락 공부셔다 다들 강송선도. 어떤데 단대한테 견주도 그러. 아니 저런 거 지나는 편 도움은 도와서. 예, 마시고 저런 시험은 도와서. 아니 저 가셨나? 대머라 대한테 가상 가신라 편 도고 해서 그러.
And so he's saying that if it cannot benefit others, and those kind of people, and also if it's not something that is not taught before, and then what can it be a benefit? Then he said, no, it can benefit some people.
가지는나 소수건데 아니 대화다 이제가 끊으라 되겠다. 그럼 야보고는 송샤와인다. 아니 소소다 지 간염라니 라는 데더니 가다라 아니 펜토고 해서 그러.
And so because he has explained this, with the positive motivation, therefore it can benefit those of the same fortune. It says, or someone else, with a disposition like my own. So people, similar to him, can be benefited from this teaching.
Okay. 어디 단들한테 갈거 온데 소소 뛰어도 되는데 내가 치워갔나 가데나 소소 지금 싸워야 되다가다 만화에 되다가다 지금 깨라 치면 왔다 대치 만화에서 했더니 진짜 노출을 해서 저는 이런 가리 냠내하고 온 거 말했어. 대 맞는 뒤그 랍자 쪼대내고 그래서.
And so what we should understand from here is that we should not will not benefit from this. Will not learn anything from this if we are looking for something different than what was taught by Buddhas before, or from somebody who is very famous and so forth. Then you will not receive any benefits from this. So this is the main advice here. And so this is very important, and so we should not be looking for new all the time, or we should not be fickle-minded all the time.
소수 강념내 지제도 예스 안는데도 그런 거 연락 없이 인다 좀 소수 아니 딱 제대로 좀 셔와를 소수 연락 없이 최근에 너도 다 제거도 걸어 봤어.
And so he said, like he said, whatever practice we do, we should keep on doing again and again, study or practice again and again, and until it becomes acquainted with our mind. And so just like Shantideva said, and I have composed it solely to season my own mind. So if it can help to acquaint his mind, then definitely can help us, right?
Okay. Today that telling us shloka kado ni some kariko no tambu and jamdo song do what then nega chimosha resro.
So we have gone through 3 verses today, right? The first one talks about the refuge. That's very important, right?
Today that there's some what jamdo jamdo the karimba jamdo chena penya karewa and then machine nime karewa to local some town is.
So at that point, you should think about the refuge, the object of refuge, the purpose of taking refuge, what are the benefits of taking refuge, and what are the disadvantages of not taking refuge, and so forth.
Okay, kanji, and it jumped to Lajada, Tomo Lajada, Gopelaja, developed in Zukola some town.
And also, you should think about the common advice or the precepts of the refuge, and the advice of not, so forth.
And it Chologa Tambo Tiniban Yidige, and the Jaya Kare, Persian to, then the Persian to go something, Persian to Kare, is in Battle of the Water, Tajimian Kanjo, so really call something or else.
So the next 2 lines in that verse explains about the subject matter of the text, which are the 6 perfections, and then should contemplate on the 6 perfections. So what are the 6 perfections? And then contemplate on each of these 6 perfections.
Okay, and then Chologa Nibadi Gardamudu. Any joining was on the water one, then they join a pental marks and that so treating the mathematical chair.
And so here it identifies, the second verse identifies the faults, right? And see if one has that kind of fault or not.
Okay? Any cousin that cardo. They must any dodgy Jadachimo Shawalega Sozola and the comic shed and then some go in. And then Manzudo in a Yana and the Sozo comic shed, the Sozonyam Yawa, the Yana and the Kalejago is.
So if Shantideva has to is doing this to acquaint his own mind or season his own mind, then of course we have to do it again and again. We have to do the practice again and again to gain the familiarity or the realization of those subject, right?
What the Trinidad and Suzu Gawa and the Gawa Commissioner Dark TV shoe, Suzu Gawa Commission down, TV short of in the dark generation. And then she on the payment, the Suzu Nanzuya, Suzu Ganche Shawatigi, and the Kunwayabo Shavayana, and some Mongol Pentores.
And so if we also do the things with the proper motivation, and that will definitely benefit many others.
Okay. Okay, then the Siri, my Lojo Chetamata, Tedo, Devil, Yamle Kari, Karchewa. Those something the Savage Karayana, Savage Karino, some don't know to saw Karagamaresro.
So whenever we study something new, we should always see how we can, put into practice related to that, that topic it's talking about. And otherwise, if we just look for something different all the time, then it will not benefit us.
And the Sanjay Jom the Chujibombo Gentry to Songs. They Cardina, Yoma Gentry to Nimbo Songs. That the Mambo Sonte, any shed the Manda was the Shilu Manda was the television the social media. That's what they're changing, but is.
So Buddha has taught 84,000 heaps of doctrine in order to overcome the 84,000 heaps of delusions. And in all these different teachings that the Buddha taught is taught in different ways, to different people in different ways. What he has taught is the same thing.
Okay? What than the thing Sholoka but the bear one was and Major Majuba and the Jimmy said, take it that Kanji Kadina Kanji Elsa Majesro.
So the verse 2 also says there's nothing there's nothing here that has not been taught, not has been said before. Explains about those faults, like I said before, like especially not being fickle-minded.
And the Tezan Pentele or something. Mikajeta Trawache, someone Trawachedana, Takumo, so the same Georgia Chibarosaya, Trawache Chedana, Trawata, Trawachatares, Mr. Kim, the level that Tendo Chamer.
So some people they show interest to get ordained, to become monk or nun. And then they think that they will be different when they become monk or nun, but then they don't see the difference, and then they says, oh, there's no point being monk or nun because there's nothing different.
And then I been that Karoch. And the Mahamutra they rose, and that the Mahamutra and Yagoma, Mahamutra, yeah. And then Mamu Kosa was saying, the name was.
And so there's this teaching like called Mahamudra, which seems to be very different, all these things. And then when you listen to the teaching, then you say, "Oh, this is the same like what I've heard before."
And you know, the Zoba Chimbo said, "I'm making a Zoba Chimbo that show Zoba Chimbo Yaboja, can get too many gumta." And then song was the same thing. And then so the Yamajana, yeah, that thing I'm a cause as a code. So what came out through?
And then in the Nyingma tradition, there's this teaching called the Dzogchen, Zoba Chimbo, the Great Completion. And that's a very again, people listen to that and they say, "Oh, this is the same thing as I heard before," and it basically talking about emptiness, and so they don't see anything different from what they have already studied.
So Sulumun Yamle Chemena, Picket Chemaka, I think it love go. Nidagana, Sulumun Yamle, the Lojo Chemena, Picket Chemaki Pentomares.
And so the reason why I spoke about this, is the main thing is for what we practice, is it's not the topic or the title of the teaching, that is famous, even if that is very famous, but if we don't practice that, then there's no use.
And it told him young was Dirk Jevan Tanda by the Shanju Simcolata. Shunju Chimbo legend, passion the Chong Manu or some was. Tango de Yamachet, Chong and the meeting of the meeting you are.
And so, like His Holiness, the Lama said, since the 8th century, till now, there hasn't been any teaching that is like as great as this Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life. And now we had this fortune, to study and to practice about it, but we don't see much difference in ourselves. Right?
And I don't know if Shanju was simply correct. Tanyamles on the Tobaya Jesati, that patient in your lodge over the song was. And also Lojo chattering of Shayom.
So His Holiness said whatever experience or realization of bodhicitta he has is through studying and practicing this text. And in our case, no matter how much we study or practice, we don't gain any realizations, right? So that is because something is lacking in us. It's not because of the text's fault. And so it's the same with those who are studying and those who are teaching. So we always tend to think that something that we study and something we practice are different. It's not like that. So whatever we study is what we should be practicing.
Okay, now I'm not talking too much. They will stop. Anyway, thank you. Very happy today. Good bad weather. But you guys make a great effort. We all create very good positive karma. Also, we available to study a couple verses. Then try to read again. Not looking for next verses. Read this, then think up to them.
Related to that.
Related to that text, you can read other texts. Then how they, make more nature.
So here, when it talks about, you can refer to other texts that explains about the same subject. So here it is very brief, right, about refuge. So, for example, it talks about refuge, and then when it talks about it, then you can refer to other texts that explains more about refuge. And that will help, to season one's mind, right? And then again, it explains about the six perfections. Then you can study other texts also, those other texts that explains more about the six perfections.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then first we do prayers, then before dedication, we do maybe 1 or 2, 21 taras for, every, for any obstacles for all of the world, for go away, successful life, well, okay? Taras, quickest, powerful cookers deity, or for me also I have more. Even I can say I have more, what we call experience. When I was, I've done my levels. Not all the same. They were always prayed for Tara. I have a lot more experience. Oh, this is something special. Therefore, everyone pray for Tara. She's very powerful. Therefore, before dedication, you can do Tara Puja, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Thank you.
Which page?
39. Lingjini de Gien Padi, Sangye Jingdu Mingte Ulwagi, Drokon Nam Dag Jing Lacher Parshu, Jetsun Lame Kutse Rabten Ching, Lam Kartrin Le Chok Chugye Padang, Lo Sang Ten Pedron Me Sasungi, Drowe Munsel Tag Tu Negyul Chig. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. From my two collections, vast is space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time. May I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom Maya is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teacher. May I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded course to enlightenment completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their children. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may they always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. A short, long life prayer for His Holiness. In that snow mountain encircled land, source of every benefit and joy, may Lord Tenzin Gyatso Chen Rezig remain in life till samsara's end. And prayer that spontaneously fulfills all wishes. Tong Page 49, the short long last prayer for Tokso Chang Jing Jang Gun Yelwei Tenzin Kyong Pelwei Kun Zo Dog Poze Chok Sun Pur Wei Leg Mon Tu Dru Pa Dak Song Du Je Gun Du Jab Ten Shu. Prayer to always meet with perfect teachers. form embodies all Buddhas. Your nature is that of Vajradhara. You are the root of the three jewels. Homage to you, O Gurus. In short, I seek your blessings, O Protector, to be cared for by you from birth unremittingly throughout all my lives, and thus to become your chief disciple, holding every secret of your body, speech, and mind. O Protector, please grant it all be auspicious for me to be foremost among your very first circle of disciples wherever you manifest Buddhahood, so that all my temporal and ultimate wishes without exception may be effortlessly and spontaneously fulfilled. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. Furthermore, in life after life, may I, pleasing him in return, be forever fostered by an accomplished Mahayana spiritual master, the source of every virtue of this world and beyond. In his care, may I acquire in him a firm, unshakable faith, pleasing him by every means possible, doing nothing even for an instant to disappoint. May my spiritual master impart to me every instruction and every teaching in its entirety. Having understood them faultlessly, may I practice them and be able to bring them to perfection. May I never, even for a moment, fall under the sway of malevolent teachers and misleading friends. Having developed in every life belief in cause and effect, renunciation, the bodhimind, and the pure view, may I embark upon them continually with effortless experience. In every life, may every virtuous act gathered by way of body, speech, and mind be causes solely for the welfare of others and for the purest and highest enlightenment. So page 221. I prostrate to the noble transcendent liberator. Homage, Tara, swift, heroic, eyes like lightning, instantaneous, from opening stamens of the Lord of Three Words, dear-born lotus. Homage, she whose face combines 100 autumn moons at fullest, blazing with light rays resplendent, that's a collection. Homage, golden blue on lotus, water-born in hand adorning, giving effort, calm austerities, patience, meditation, her spirit. Homage, crown of Tathagata's actions, triumph without limit, relied on by conquerors' children, having reached every perfection. Homage, filling with tutare, whom desire direction and space, trampling with her feet the seven worlds, able to draw both beings. Homage, worshipped by the all-Lord, Chakra, Agni, Brahma, Marat, honored by the host of spirits, both Yakshas. Homage with your trade and paid sounds, destroying closed magic diagrams, her feet pressing left out right, in blazing in her raging fire blaze. Homage to a very dreadful destroyer of Mara's champion, she with frowning lotus visage, who is slayer of all enemies. Homage at the harder fingers, adorn her with free-tool mudra, light ray masses all excited, all directions wheels adorn her. Homage, she so joyous, radiant, crown emitting garlands of light, mirthful, laughing with tutare, subjugating Mars devas. Homage, she able to summon all of guardians assembly, shaking, crowning with her sign, saving from every misfortune. Homage, crown adorned with crescent, moon all ornaments most shining, Amitabha in her hair knot, sending out much light eternal. Homage, she mid wreath ablaze like eon ending fire abiding, right with weapon choice around you, troops of enemies destroying. Homage, she who strikes the ground with her palm and with her foot beats it, scowling with the letter whom the seven levels she does conquer. Homage, happy, virtuous, peaceful, she whose field is peace nirvana, she endowed with home and soul, destroyer of the great evil. Homage, she with joy surrounded, foes bodies asunder, priest with tongue and knowledge mantra, arrangement of the 10 letters. Homage, Turi with seed letter, of the shape of syllable, by foot stamping shapes of 3 worlds, Meru, Mandara, and India. Homage, holding in her hand the dear Makuna Deva lake form, with by spoken Tara and Pate, totally dispelling poison. Homage, she who gods in their kings and the Kinnaras who honor, armored in all joyful splendor, she sad dreams and conflict. Homage she whose two eyes bright with radiance of sun and full moon, which by Sarah and Utari she discussed of their contagion. Homage full of liberating, Papa thus said of three natures, destroys hostas, fierce yakshas, and raise corpses to Pituri. These praises were their root mantras, and translations thus are 21. Page 245. State of a Buddha. If affected by the most terrible poison, whether ingested, drunk, or from a living being, just by remembering will one be thoroughly cleansed. If this prayer is recited 2, 3, or 7 times, it will pacify all the sufferings of torments caused by spirits, fevers, and poisons, and by other beings as well. If you wish for a child, you will get a child. If you wish for wealth, you will receive wealth. All your wishes will be fulfilled, and all obstacles pacified. Page 57, dedication. Through this virtue may I swiftly, having gained Guru Buddha state, place each and every sentient being without exception in that state. Precious supreme bodhimind, may it where unborn arise, and where born never decline, but increase forevermore. Chen Chen Resig, dreamaking Pei Wang Por Zhan Peliang, Gang Chen Ke Pei Tsu Yen Song Kappa, Lo San Drag Pei Jab La So Ade. Thank you, Geshe-la.
Oh, I have announcements. I think I only have one. That's fine. Just one announcement for now. We need to make sure when we park, we can start using the driveway pretty much in valet style. Just shove as many cars as we can in, and then be aware that your car is in there. So quickly out if you want. And people who are parked in, just let us know if you need to get quickly out. Other than that, we'll have this week pretty much a standard schedule. In about 4 weeks' time, we've got Geshe Sherab joining us. I'll start sending out more information on that in our newsletter. The date's already marked in the calendar. I don't think there's anything else. Thanks, Geshe-la. Oh, and sorry, for Losar, we've got the February 19th. We have, we will have there'll be a Tsog celebration in the morning, a Guru Puja with the Tibetans, right? At 8:30?
We don't do the real good puja, but we do some.
They do some prayers. And
Westerners we have to evening Thara puja with song.
yes, and so any specific Tsog offerings that Geshe-la wants? Candles? Whatever you can bring. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.